How's it going, everybody? Bam, back in Rocket League, sort of. Today we're going to be looking at my RLCS power rankings heading into the fall major in Rotterdam. It's starting this Thursday. Plenty of stuff to jump right into. We got power rankings, we got top 25 players, and we got predictions, all to get to still this week. So let's go ahead, jump right into it. The power rankings. Honorable mention, of course, got to go to Team Liquid. Which may be surprising. They are the 2 seed coming out of Europe. However, Europe's just kind of been a lot of a clusterfuck this season so far. Liquid got the benefit of winning the 3rd regional, which vaulted them clear up to 2nd in EU. I'd like to see more consistency out of them. I think this team has a very high ceiling. Obviously one of their better results was reverse sweeping G2, in London last year. I think this team has a super high ceiling. Obviously, they showed that in winning the 3rd regional. I'd like to see them continue more of that, but right now they're number 11 for me heading into the major. Number 10, Moist Esports. Really, I have them number 10. I think they've got the LAN experience now. They're not just these super mechanical kids jumping onto LAN for the first time. They also added Astral, who replaced Vatira, who went to K-Corp, who you'll probably see later on in this list. I really think Moist Esports, I think they've got the capability. They've been a little up and down, a little shaky here in Europe during the fall split, but I think they'll clean it up here, especially on LAN. I think Astral's got a super high ceiling on LAN. He's already shown that in the past. And I think Moist Esports, I think they're a top 10 team right now, and I like them. I like them to bolster that at the fall major. Team Power, probably the most the most surprising team on this list here. You guys know I'm a big Torsos guy. I'm a big OCE guy. Had to include them on this list. What they did in OCE, the 2nd and 3rd regional in this fall split was absolutely incredible. Beating Pioneers twice in the grand finals, and really just kind of curb stomping everyone in OCE. Basically, what they were doing is what James Cheese is doing to APAC. And OCE is a little bit better than APAC, so I got to give them credit for what they're doing. I've got them at number 9 here. They could potentially be a top 8 team. They could make the playoffs here this weekend, so keep an eye on Team Power. Moving on to number 8, we've got our first North American team, version 1. They won the 2nd regional in NA, but man, I really want to see more from this team. I think they've got a higher potential on LAN than they do online, which I think obviously really benefits them, this being a major. I didn't want to push them up any higher, though, because I actually think that right now they're the weakest North American team. So yes, that's right, I've got all 5 North American teams in my top 8 for the power rankings. And yeah, I really like, man, Beast Mode is just incredible. Torment to lock it down on defense. You're not scoring if Torment's in net. And Calm to just be an absolute menace in front of the ball. I like where V1's at, but I really, again, much like Team Liquid, I want to see that consistency. I want to see them show that every game of every match. Just ahead of them, I got Space Station Gaming, of course, no longer with Reddles. They've got LJ on this roster joining Arsenal and Daniel. LJ's first, real LAN, his first real, deep competition here. I think Arsenal, he's plenty a leader to get LJ through it, and Daniel, he's had some shaky starts to LAN, but once he gets the feel of it, once he gets into things, he really pops off. I think that's what gives them a higher ceiling than V1 right now. Is once they get into the LAN, I think Daniel will be fine, and I really think LJ he'll be good. He might start off a little shaky, but again, the deeper Space Station goes, I think the better they'll get, and I've got him at number 7 here. Number 6, I've got Team Falcons, maybe a little bit low to some people. I wasn't as impressed with TRK Ahmad and O'Khaled as some people have been this fall. Obviously they still won. They're still the MENA representation. And maybe part of that's just because MENA is that good and is that deep, and they've got all these young stars up and coming. But again, there's just something about them. They feel like they're still there, but they're not as there as they were. They don't, I don't know, maybe it's just they don't have that, sort of underdog feel anymore because everybody knows how good they are. And obviously, I think they're still really good. They cracked the top 6 here. And I think, I think they're definitely a playoff team. I think they're definitely a top 8 team this weekend. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just underrating them because I see the up-and-comers in Mina giving them some trouble there. But let me know what you guys think down below. Team Falcons at number 6. Oxygen Esports at number 5. I really like this Oxygen team. I really like Archie and Jory's together. I think Oli's just that solid third guy on the team. To just kind of hold the whole thing together. I think, Archie and Jory's. I think this is a really tough matchup for G2 to start off the competition. But just like it's a tough opponent for G2, I also think it's a tough opponent for Oxygen because I've got G2 at number 4 now. I know I'm a G2 fan. I probably have them a little high here, but hear me out. G2. They're flying under the radar, man. Nobody's predicting them to win anything. I've seen people not having them making top 8. And, while I can kind of understand that, I think a lot of people are really sleeping on G2. You got FaZe in North America. You got Gen G in North America. Both of those teams have just flown by G2 as far as, who the top teams in North America are. I think this is exactly where G2 wants to be. And I had a very short discussion on Twitter where somebody said, I pointed out that G2 is kind of flying under the radar, and they were like, "Oh well, G2 was flying under the radar in the third regional, and then they got just trounced in the playoffs." And it's like, yeah, they got trounced in the playoffs by Gen G, who lost one game all of playoffs. Like Gen G curb stomped everybody that playoffs, and G2 was the only team that actually beat Gen G in the third regional. They beat them in round 3 of the Swiss. So I really like this G2 team. Obviously I'm a fan, but I don't have them in the top 3 because I think there is a substantial gap from G2 to my third place team, FaZe Clan. I think there's a pretty steep drop right now from the top 3 teams to the next 6 or 7 teams. And FaZe Clan is definitely the gatekeeper to that. They just got to get by Gen G and the other team here. I really like what FaZe Clan is doing. Mist, they play they're kind of set up as a team very similarly to version 1 in that they've got Mist to hold down the back line instead of Torment. But then instead of a demo chaser and just a nuisance in Calm, they just have 2 beast modes. First Killer, obviously everybody knows what First Killer is capable of. One of the best players in the world. Probably the best player in North America, depending on who you ask. And then when he has an off game, Sipical just takes over. I mean, Sipical just absolutely destroys everybody. 1v3 teams, I mean, just the air dribbles, the consistency. I really like where FaZe Clan is at right now. If there was ever a chance for FaZe Clan to bring home something on the land, it might just be this one. But standing in their way, across the pond, Carmine Corp. They added Vatira, and they added Exotic, and they dropped Nolly and Astral. And I didn't know how that was going to work out. I obviously, I thought Itachi was really good. Obviously, Vatira is really good. Obviously, Exotic is really good. But I didn't know how they were going to gel as a completely new trio. And they have absolutely blown me out of the water. They've absolutely destroyed EU. I think they're far and away the best team in that region, obviously, as shown by the power rankings. But, man, I've been really impressed with this team so far. I think they've got more than what it takes to win this fall major. And really, like I said, I think there's only 2 teams that are right up there with them. One of them being FaZe Clan that we just saw at number 3. And, of course, my number 1 team for the fall major, James Cheese. I mean, they are just absolutely destroying everybody in APAC. They brought in Kami and Virtuoso from other regions to sort of throw together this hodgepodge group of players. They're bringing Realize to the top of the world, or rather Realize is bringing them up to the top of the world. And James Cheese, my number 1 team. Okay, seriously. James Cheese is really good. They're dominating APAC. I don't think they're number 1. Obviously, number 1, Gen G Mobile Racing. They're so good that Chronic has gone off the face of the planet. I'll be honest, I couldn't find a picture of him. I don't know. There's probably some like random tweet somewhere that has a picture of Chronic. I couldn't find a picture of him. None of the thumbnails and anything use him. Even like the Shift article of saying Gen G was signing Jack Nolly and Chronic didn't have a picture of Chronic. It was just Jack and Nolly. So I don't know, but he's so. I mean, he's, you know, for being nobody, he's absolutely killing it in North America so far in the fall. The thing that I love about watching Gen G is that Chronic always beats two players. Whenever Chronic is on the ball, he always beats two players. And that is exactly what you need in order to win a Rocket League event right now. I think there's plenty of teams that are really good at team plays. I think there's plenty of teams that are really good. They have that one guy that can beat one person. They can make it a 3-on-2 if they have to. But with Gen G, Chronic can take two players out of the game. You can leave Nolly or Jack back in defense and just 2v1. Because Chronic can take somebody out of the play. And then he'll beat another person and take a second person out of the play. And a 2v1 at this level, you're not going to miss in a 2v1. And Chronic has really opened the door for that. And that's not to take away from Nolly, who I think's had a really good performance. And Jack, who's arguably been the best player, arguably the North American MVP. In my opinion, he is the North American MVP to this point. And that's just because Chronic takes two players out of the game, sets them up easy peasy, lemon squeezy, and Gen G are rolling. And I think that right now they are the best team in the world heading into the Fall Major. So let me know what you think down below. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? Am I overrating somebody? Am I underrating somebody? Let me know what you think about G2 and Team Power. Those are my boys. We're hoping for an NA OCE Grand Final. We'll see what happens. Yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to drop a like if you enjoyed it. Drop a dislike if you didn't enjoy it. Be sure you're subscribed and click that bell icon so you get notified every time I go live and every time I upload a video. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.